Hey guys, today I wanted to do a tier list video to try and showcase my thoughts on each character. Keep in mind that I am a PlayStation player, however, I am among the people who does not really believe that there is too much of a difference between the metas. I think both metas are incredibly viable and they are both fairly similar, despite what a lot of people might say. Just some characters become more or less common depending on which meta you're in, but that does not change the power of the character, in my personal opinion. However, since I'm a PlayStation player, I will obviously be having a bit more bias towards the PlayStation environment, as I understand that environment a lot more than I do other environments. I do think the characters form roughly equally on all devices. It just depends on a lot of other different factors. Alright, now the first character is Assault Deku. Oh boy. He's a divisive topic, alright. He was meta for so long. Particularly PC meta. He wasn't as common on console, but a lot of the top players still played him a lot. I think he's S. I don't think he got hit hard enough to be knocked away from S. I definitely think he's still very strong. I think he's incredibly versatile to have on basically any team comp. And the only reason you wouldn't run him is because you're running Strike Deku instead. Or you simply, if you don't run a Deku, you're running a different team comp strategy. Which is valid. But I definitely think Assault Deku is still incredibly strong. Able to melt your health bars faster than what would reasonably be fair at ranges that he is, in my opinion. I think he's incredible. I think once he gets that second Black Whip charge, he becomes rapid level mobility. So it's very tough for a lot of characters to even keep up with him if they do have him on the ropes. And his alpha is just, in my opinion, it's still top 3 alphas in the game. It's still obscene. Yeah. High range, high damage, good fire rate, it's everything you'd want in an alpha. Alright, moving on to the next character. Strike Deku. Of course, he's the very top of S right now. He is obscene. His alpha hits insanely hard, and the knockdown, it has its uses. People used to say that it was very bad because the knockdown would prevent damage that Yellow Deck could be getting, for example, by just shooting somebody over and over and over. And to an extent, this is true. But being able to hit somebody for 110 just back to back, it still stings really hard. I think his biggest issues are his early game, as his early game damage on alpha can be quite sad, and he only gets one beta charge until you get that second one at level 4. So his early game can be quite middling, as his alpha damage will often barely be higher than the opponent's, and his will knock down, limiting his damage. While if you catch him off guard, you can often hit him with 4 or 5 alphas before he knocks you down. Yeah. He has decent mobility. I mean, it's nothing crazy. He can climb the entirety of UA very quickly, but he can't go forward very easily. He can go up really quickly though. So if you're trying to escape a full bullet, try not to go on top of a building to escape him. Instead, just try to create distance from him. And once you're outside of his alpha range, there really isn't anything he can do. His alpha range is quite nice though, so it can be quite tough to get out of his alpha range in closer fights. Alright, the next character. Oh geez, Strike Bakugo. What did they do to you? Man, I hate what they did to him. He's so bad now. He hates the rapid meta. I didn't mention that about full bullet, but rapid meta, full bullet's also not really too kind to it. He doesn't like rapid meta. But yeah, Strike Bakugo really does not like rapid meta. He doesn't have the mobility to keep up. He doesn't have the damage to kill them before they get away. He doesn't have the HP to survive. He doesn't have anything going for him right now, in my opinion. I think he's realistically just a worse Assault Deku. I think he's just worse than Strike Deku. He's just worse than basically every beamer down here. I'd even argue Todo might be better than him. Strike Bakugo's really been struggling recently. But he does still have those grenades, which can do quite nice damage and have large AoEs. So I guess he's not useless, but he just... Man, he's been struggling. He's also not a fan of rapid meta. He hates it. Now, Rapid Bakugo, on the other hand, he has not been struggling. Rapid Bakugo has been doing quite well. I do think he's among one of the harder characters to play, along with Assault Deku, as they require like very good aim to get consistent value with. But yeah, Rapid Bakugo, ever since he received that second Gamma and that third Beta charge, he's just been really, really good. Essentially, no character in the game can keep up with him except for like a few of the Rapids. Like they can kind of keep up with him. Hawks like really keeps up with him, and Mirio too, but like the rest of them kind of struggle to keep up with him reliably. Yeah, and he does kind of crazy damage. Like he can do Beta into Gamma as a true combo, and he can finish it off with an Alpha for like a guard break if he wants, or if the opponent's already broken, he could go down for a second Gamma, and it will work if they don't tech, and basically insta kill them. But yeah, I mean, Rapid Bakugo, he scales really well into late game. His early game's fine because he still has like a decent Alpha. You know, like his Alpha. I think his Alpha might be one of the best in the game because it hits crazy hard and has a mobility aspect to it. I think if you could just slap his Alpha onto a lot of characters and it would work really well. Yeah, I think Rapid Bakugo is incredible right now. You just don't see him very often because he's a lot harder to play than a lot of the other characters are. But I definitely think he's still really good. Ochaco. Now this is a tough one because your average Ochaco is like right here, like absolute garbage. Most of them are so bad because you can just roll their Gammas and they can't do anything. Like they just go in for the car and then hold car out, and it's just so easy to counter that. But if you get that one good Ochaco, she's right here. Okay? She is a monster. I don't think she ever needed that 300 HP. I don't think, it really did not, like, she didn't need it. She was still very good without it. But she has some crazy setups, like she can do Gamma into car throw, Alpha, car throw again, and then Alpha again, then Gamma, then Alpha. She can just destroy your entire health bar. And because of the increased HP that she has and her like decent mobility, she's actually not too prone to rapid meta. In fact, she's one of the rapids that you'll see decently commonly in top ranking, at least on PlayStation. I'm not sure how common she is in other devices, but I know she is decently common for top players to pick up in PlayStation lobbies. And there's a good reason for that. She's incredible. Absolutely incredible. I would almost argue that she's better than when she was originally nerfed. I think they've gone overboard with buffing her. I think she is in a very like poor position right now, and she really needs like a nerf, if anything. If you're able to roll her Gamma, she's not too bad, but she has setups to like prevent that from happening too. Like she can do a car throw, so your choice is either to dodge the car throw and get hit by the Gamma, or get hit by the car throw and then get staggered into the Gamma. Yeah, you're not really dealing with her very well. It's almost better to not have shield when you're fighting her in times, because that stagger with that car throw is incredible. And it allows her to do so many combos that you should realistically like never have on Ochaco. Yeah. Alright, Iida. Now, this is an incredibly divisive topic depending on who you ask. Because I've known some people that put Iida like here. Like solid, but nothing incredible. There are some people who put Iida like here, because he's like, they see his potential, but nobody. I'm gonna go ahead and say he's right here. It's very hard to pick up and play Iida at a top level, because you have to learn all of his combos and all that, and as well as like the wall run jump. You have to learn how to get really good at that, so you can jump off of like very tiny structures. But once you like become like a really good Iida, like, he definitely is up there. He's insane. He's a monster. I I don't know. People would just say, don't just roll him. But when Anita's, like, super good and they're, like, jumping off of walls and, like, flying above you and stuff, you're not just going to be able to roll that. You have no idea when they could be coming in for a fight. And that fight is liable to be very, like, very bad for you. Iida is incredible. I don't think he's like. I think he needs nerfed. I'm not sure what I would nerf about him, but I don't think he ever needed armor on his beta. I think that ruined like a lot of the counterplay to the character. But yeah, I think Iida is a monster. And yeah, I mean, I know a lot of PC players will like disagree with me, and they'll be like, "Just roll, bro." Yeah, I will say your average Iida, trash. Your average Iida is not good. But when you see that top level Iida on console lobbies and in PC lobbies apparently, but PC doesn't have very many. I think the only one I know of is like it's like one person. I forgot their name. But yeah, apparently like PC Iidas aren't very common and they usually aren't very good. But yeah, if they had a overrun of like all the top level console Iidas that we have, like suddenly they would all be thinking the same thing. They'd be thinking that Iida's crazy because he's a monster if you know how to play him. Yeah, he's crazy. Strike Toto. Hmm. I actually think he's a little underrated. I think his biggest issue is a poor matchup spread into the top tiers, which admittedly is a big issue. I don't think he likes Strike Deku very much, and he doesn't like any of the rapids. Like, he hates rapid meta. But realistically, I think he's, like, bottom of B. I think his alpha, like, it's starting to pick up a niche now that the other top level alphas are, like, going and, like, they're, like, losing their viability. So his alpha, with, like, its crazy range, its 10 charges, and its damage, it is, like, still pretty good. I think there's a niche for that. I think having crazy range on that, as well as the ability to do the, like, gamma stun into alpha combo, don't get me wrong, I think he does definitely need a buff. But personally, I don't think he needs that much of a buff. I'm not sure how I would buff him, because it feels like all of his skills are already, like, pretty good. I think about... I think maybe, like, I feel like if they gave his, like, Gamma the ability to, like, go up walls, he'd be incredible. Like, he'd be too strong. Because that's his main weakness, is not able to go up buildings and stuff. But I still think he's solid despite that, not because of it. Like, I still think he's very strong. Just not, like, the top tier strong, because he struggles a lot against the current meta picks right now. Tech Toto. I think Tech Toto is A. I think it's incredibly hard to pin him down and kill him, mostly because he's got really good defensive options. He's got his Gamma, which can prevent like all projectiles from connecting to him, and his Beta, like he can use his Beta to plug up like doorways and stuff. Additionally, like he doesn't even need to be within range of you to be a threat, because his mere existence would just it makes you not want to go indoors, because he doesn't even need to go indoors to fight you. He can instead shoot his glacier through the wall and then just blow it up and like destroy the whole building. Now there is a problem with this though, is that when he does this, it is decently easy to roll the explosion. It's nothing crazy. But at the end of the day, it's still like he's still very, very potent. He struggles a lot in the early game with his very poor glacier size and his damage on his alpha. But once he reaches like mid to late game, with his alpha hitting people for 100 and his glacier explosions covering entire buildings, he's definitely like S tier ready. Like it is very tough to deal with a late game Tech Toto that's like properly leveled. His alpha also hits incredibly hard too, able to do 100 damage and having a huge hitbox. So dealing with him, like I don't know, he's got some super good defensive tools. Additionally, he's able to deal with Hawks decently well, because if Hawks tries to go in for a beta, his the ice on his alpha will freeze the Hawks, and if the Hawks hits the Todoroki and then gets frozen, the Hawks will also lose his beta charge, which is huge. Like Tech Toto can shut down a Hawks decently well. Yeah. Alright, now we have Froppy. It's very tough. I can't even remember the last time I saw Froppy. And I think it's for good reason. I think Froppy is kind of bad right now. And I think a lot of it is due to the Hawks and Full Bullet meta, because she struggles very heavily against those two characters. And she struggles against a lot of the other top tiers as well. I think Froppy, she used to be a much bigger problem because people didn't understand how to fight her very well. After, like, she's been, like, in and out of the meta a few times, people understand how to fight her a lot better, so they understand how to like really deal with her. So personally, like the only thing I see that she does like really damage with is like her alpha, because most of the time like you're able to dodge her beta pretty well, and Froppy is like not prepared to alpha trade you. She is an incredible support unit though, having incredible mobility and an instant res, as well as like the ability to go invisible and pop team heals and stuff. She's very good at that. In fact, I would say she's the best team heal spammer like support in the game. Despite not being a support, I think she's the best dedicated support character in the entire game. But that doesn't exactly mean a lot when she's just getting hawked and dying anyway. Alright, Kirishima. I don't think he's that good. I think he's better than Strike Bakugo. And I do acknowledge his presence is like very scary late game with his and with Plus Ultra too. But his early game is still like quite bad, with his alpha barely even being faster than a base sprint at level 1, and his gamma being super small, and then his beta like also being super small. Fun fact, just run in the opposite direction of a Kiri with a level 1 beta and they cannot hit you. It's stupid. They cannot hit you with beta, or I don't think they can hit you with alpha either. Like you can alpha kite him so easily at low levels, and then even at later levels, it feels like the only way he's ever going to be a threat at any point is like when he's got like his hardening up against like beamers, and then he's got like 999 skills, and requiring that to even be good, and then even in that case, he's still not fantastic, because full bullets alpha will just knock him straight out of his hardening state. Hawks' alpha will do the same thing. Both of those characters can stay up in the air for very long amounts of time, which Kiri can't really deal with that very well. Yeah, Kiri's struggling right now. In my opinion, I think he's just a like much worse version of Full Bullet. Yeah. I think he needs a buff. Personally, I would either go 500 HP, give him like a ton of HP to help him fill the tank role a lot better, or just simply make his special action harder to knock out of, like kind of what they did with Mount Lady, if it makes any sense. Mount Lady's special action, when she grows big, it takes a lot more shots to knock her down. I think if they did that to Kiri too, so you can't just knock him down with like 2 full bullet alphas, you instead have to do it with like 5. I think that would be a large buff to him, and I think that might see him like reaching like A tier, maybe higher. I think he needs it, but right now he's just kind of bad. Alright, Momo. Hot take, she's really not that bad. She's like really not that bad. In fact, I think she's better than Toto. I think she's incredible. She's able to lock down buildings better than any other character in the game, in my opinion, because she can simply like throw one of her betas at like the entrance of the building and prevent people from entering or leaving very easily. Additionally, her cannons do monstrous damage. I know they've been nerfed a lot, but they still do way too much damage. They still hurt. So, I mean, and the thing is about Momo, like, it's very tough to play her on USJ. I do think she struggles very heavily, like, her and Kiri both struggle very heavily on USJ. But when they get to UA Island and they can just go inside of a building, like, it's much harder to deal with both of them. Like, they both go up, like, a good few positions just from the map switch. But overall, I think this is where I would put Momo. I think on, like, UA Island, she's, like, bottom of A. But I think on USJ, she's, like, bottom of B. Like, she struggles decently heavily on USJ. But yeah, I mean, just being able to, like, go inside of a building and then throw a cannon down, it's essentially, like, a guarantee that nobody's going inside that building unless their name is Strike Shigaraki. She's also decently fine against Hawks as well, because her alpha is a very good deterrent against Hawks, and her beta can also be used to, like, deter Hawks. Additionally, if Hawks gets close and she has a cannon pointed straight towards the ground, the Hawks is liable to eat more damage than the Momo does. And Momo also has more health than Hawks, so she's able to deal with Hawks decently well. And if she can catch a full bullet in a scenario where the full bullet doesn't want to be, she can destroy full bullet as well. Like, she has to lock, like, the full bullet, like, indoors, or, like, be, like, in close range. Because her alpha can knock full bullet out of his gamma pretty easily if you know the timing for it. And if you're able to do this, she can lock down, like, a full bullet, keep him, like, close to you, and beat a full bullet, too. But she does struggle a lot against full bullet, because full bullet has, like, mobility and that alpha, which makes it very tough for Momo to really do much in open areas. But indoors, Momo will absolutely, like wreck full bullet, and if she's able to close the distance against a full bullet, and, like, land those alphas to stagger him out of his gammas, then yeah, like she will take down a full bullet too. Like she is incredible. She has some issues, mainly her lack of mobility, but I think she's still a very like good character right now. I think she needs a buff to her beta, but that's it. I don't think she needs anything else. Denki. I think Denki is up here. I think he's a top tier strike. I think I would put him above Tech Toto as well. Because Denki, he has like incredible like stun combos, as well as, in my opinion, one of the best alphas in the game. It has kind of poor range, which really works against him when he's facing like top tier threats like Full Bullet and Rapid Bakugo, as they're able to just outrange him. But if he's able to get close to either of them and hit him with a stun gun, like they're more than likely going to eat like a ton of damage, if not die. Additionally, Denki's beta can also be useful for like indoor battles, as he doesn't even need to be on the same floor as the fight that's going on. He can just shoot his beta like through the wall or like through the floor, through the ceiling, in order to get damage on everybody in the room. He can be quite scary in that sense. Like he ain't no Tech Toto. Like he's not like the strongest character against like indoor opponents, but he's definitely like no slouch either. And yeah, I mean I think the main thing that he has is his incredible alpha. And additionally, his special action, even if a Hawks like tries to get close to him, like the special action will be like a really good deterrent for the Hawks to not go for a beta. Because if the Hawks goes for a beta against a Denki that has special action and gets stunned, the Denki is more than likely to do wake up alpha, hit him once and hit him for about 100, and then do the gamma into alpha, 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 and kill the Hawks. So if the Hawks goes in for a beta against the Denki that has special action on, Hawks like will likely die against a high level Denki. Yeah, I think Denki's very good. I think he struggles a little bit with his early game mobility with his gamma, but his alpha damage is still like really, really good. His fire rate's alright. Like I think it's about on par with Yellow Deku. Yeah, he's definitely like very strong. He's a very top tier pick. I don't think he's exactly meta though. I think he's another one of those characters that just gets outclassed by Full Bullet in a lot of scenarios. Yeah. Kendo. I actually don't even think she's that great. I really don't. I think she's really good in team comps. Like, if you're able to play her with, like, an Aizawa that can grab somebody and then she goes up and alpha spams them, she's gonna be a monster. But whenever I play her, I personally feel like her alpha is incredibly inconsistent, which I'm sure is something that is not just me. Like, I remember watching Metsu play Kendo as well, and it felt like his alphas would always do, like, incredibly inconsistent damage even when he played Kendo. And yeah, I think that's just the case for Kendo. I think it's because like her spread, it's completely random where each of the rocks goes, and the spread is like incredibly large. So it's very tough to deal like that max damage unless you're really close to the opponent. I've done some testing on it before, where I went into training and just sat still and spamming alphas, and it does do like inconsistent damage because like the rocks will change like where they go and all that. It's really tough for Kendo. I do think her gamma with the hyper armor and doing like 180 is definitely like very strong. I do think she can abuse that against a lot of characters. Characters like Iida come to mind. Like if Iida comes in for like an attack, like she can counterattack with either a shield and do like a full combo, or a like clap and just armor through Iida's attack and trade with him. And yeah, she can be quite like scary in that sense. I do think she still has a bug right now, though, where her shield breaks abnormally fast against AoE attacks. And that bug is, like, also really holding her back. Like, I might put her, like, bottom of A because of her good Hawks matchup if that bug wasn't the thing. Because that bug forces her to pick her fights a lot differently than what she was used to be able to. Because if she picks the wrong fight, her shield is going to get broken immediately. Like, I think Endeavor Alpha, like, if Endeavor just holds Alpha into the shield, I think it costs her, like, 600 charge on the shield. Something crazy like that. It's obscene that she needs that fixed. Alright, now on to Ibara. Honestly, I think she's a good A tier pick. I think Ibara is very strong right now. I think that alpha she has with 160 damage It is monstrous. It has some crazy range on it as well. And she has a decent matchup into Hawks. If you're able to land your alphas against a Hawks that's flying through the air, Obaro will win that. Because Hawks will come down with a beta and she can armor through it, hit him with a beta of her own. Or if she has a strike card or a few strike mates and then a maxed out Gamma, she can just insta-kill the Hawks. Which is big, big value. Big value. Yeah, I think she's very strong right now. You also can never underestimate the value of an instant revive. I think her biggest issue is that she's no mobility in a very high mobility meta, but it kind of works out for her in this case because she does so well against like those characters that have like those high mobilities if she's able to hit her shots. If she's not able to hit her shots, then she's like C tier. Because you like hitting your alphas is incredibly important with her. If you miss all of them, then you're not doing well with her. But yeah, I think she's very strong right now. I think her biggest issue is like her early game being kind of lackluster. But that's like manageable. It's nothing other characters haven't dealt with before. And I think once she gets to 9 on alpha, she can become like an absolute menace and really like tough to deal with against a good Ibara. Mirio. This is very tough to say. Mirio has bad matchups against like all of the top tiers right now. Iida like melts him with a combo. Yellow Deku can like destroy him like very easily as well with the alpha. Ochaco, I guess he's not too bad against Ochaco. And like rapid Bakugo, but like full bullet. If the Mirio misses a beta and the full bullet knows how to combo, like the Mirio is dead. Just plain dead. It's like such a free setup. Yeah. I think Mirio is very bad right now. I think he got hit too hard. I want to say he's better than Froppy, but do I put him up here? I think I'm going to move Kendo up just a teensy bit and then move Mirio right there. Because I don't think Mirio is very good right now, but I do see that Mirio has some value right now as he's very like... It's very hard to die on him unless you're facing against like a Hogs or a Full Bullet. But because those two are so common, it's very tough for Mirio. Alright, next up, All Might. Huh. I think he's A. I think he's perfectly balanced right now. His beta can be like comboed into an alpha for a true combo, which is honestly about the only thing I have that's a problem with him. He has very well-defined weaknesses and very well-defined strengths, while also being decently well-rounded no matter what the situation is. His alpha is incredibly strong, of course. It has super high damage and super high fire rate, but it's limited by its range. I would personally nerf the splash damage on it, because I'm sick of people getting free damage even when they don't hit. I think that's kind of not fun, but I think he's fine right now. I honestly like don't think he's too much of a problem. He does struggle a good bit into full bullet, but against Hawks, he can armor through a Hawks beta and hit him back with a beta of his own and like do a combo with a beta into alpha and deal with Hawks that way. Or he can simply just use Gamma to invincibility through Hawks. And his mobility is also quite good, even without levels. Yeah, I mean, he's still like quite solid. Personally, like, I really don't think he needs that much of a nerf, if a nerf at all. Like, I think he's in a really good spot right now, and I think he should stay this way. I think the only thing I would like really want from him is potentially a nerf to his splash damage, so you don't get as much value for missing. And the only other thing I would want would be for his special action to receive a buff where he can do the pickup part of the special action, where he picks somebody up, regardless of what his percent is at. And like it doesn't cost him percent to do the pickup either. I want to see All Might actually using the pickup instead of having to like... He has to lose his jump if he goes for the pickup, and I don't like that. I think he should be able to do both. I think he should be able to do the pickup and then jump away if he needs to, or do the jump in to pick somebody up. I think he should be able to do that, but he's not able to. And it's really sad. But yeah, I definitely, like, I don't think he's meta right now. I don't think he's broken, but I definitely don't think he's bad either. I think he's very strong. Aizawa. I'm personally going to put him above Ochaco. Maybe even above Yellow Deku. Aizawa was incredible. His ability to like 1v1 to get anybody in the cast is monstrous. And while I didn't really factor it too much into his rating because only like 2 Aizawa players know how to do it, but if he knows how to like combo you really well, like beyond just the basic Gamma, Alpha, like Air Alpha, but if he understands how to get like all the combos and all that done, easily up here. Absolute monster. But I don't even think most Aizawa players know that those combos exist. Like, I don't see Aizawa very often anymore. And I think there's a good reasoning for that. I think people will try and convince you that Toga and AFO are like the hardest characters in the game to play. And realistically, they kind of have a point. But I also think no self-respecting Toga player is going to go through all the effort to learn all of the Aizawa combos, only to never use them. So I would personally give the hardest character in the game to Aizawa. The hardest reasonable character in the game to Aizawa. I think Aizawa is insanely difficult to play, but so rewarding to master. As when you master him, it would feel like basically impossible for most people to even fight you. I do think he doesn't like rapid meta very much, though. Like, he's able to deal with Hawks decently, but the rapids... He has great mobility, but with the rapid meta, like, he can't, like, escape like how he used to against, like, the strike and assault meta. He can't escape as easily, because the rapids keep up to him a lot easier. He's still incredible, though. I could see if you would like the top tiers being nerfed, then I could see Aizawa meta being a thing. Like, once Hawks and Full Bullet get taken out, I think Aizawa will become meta. Present Mic. Now, call this a hot take. I think he's broken. I think he's absolutely broken. I think his alpha is one of the best alphas in the entire game. It has great range, great fire rate, great damage. And it does technically knock down, but it's after 5 shots. So more often than not, it's not really going to knock down. He has an incredible beta as well, with beta tap being able to stagger opponents into a gamma, which is essentially a free guard break, or at like slightly longer ranges, he can do beta into alpha, and that's also pretty much a guard break. This character is crazy. I think he's incredibly underrated right now, even though he just came out. I think he's a monster. I think once, like, Hawks gets taken out of the meta, I think once Full Bullet gets taken out of the meta, like, Mike is going to be the meta. And I know people would be like, oh, but his mobility is not that great. Yeah, at level 1 to 3, his mobility isn't that great. But once he gets that 3rd gamma charge, his mobility is fine. People over-exaggerate how bad it is, and I think that's largely due to rapid meta. But I think if, like, all the rapid, like, if rapid meta were to end, Mike meta would probably begin. Because I think Mike is a monster. I think he's fucking crazy. I don't see a world where he's not, like, insane. Not to mention he's 350 HP, he's got the best roll type in the entire game, and he's also, like, he's got that special action, which can allow him to do even more damage with his alpha and his beta if he plays them properly. Granted, the special actions, like boomboxes, are easy to destroy, but if you're, like, not able to destroy them in time, like, he's going to hit you for, like, so much damage way too fast. He's going to have, like, crazy damage against you, and it's going to feel, like, incredibly unfair. I think after Full Bullet and Hawks eventually receive their nerfs, I think it'd probably become, like, Mike Aizawa and then, like, Rapid Bakugo meta. Or, like, Mike Aizawa Deku meta. Like, I think Mike is definitely going to be part of whatever next meta is coming, if he's not already part of this one. Cementos. Now, I'm going to be honest here. I think he's high A. I think he's incredibly strong, and I think he matches up decently well into Hawks. And he does alright against Full Bullet as well. The main problem is that at the end of the day, he is Cementos. So a lot of people end up targeting him because of the instant revive effect and because of the support that he can provide, which can make it very tough for a Cementos to make it to late game. Additionally, his early game is atrocious. And his late game, while it's also incredible, he doesn't really have a way to secure kills either. He has to rely on his team to secure kills for him, which, when having a Hawks on the team, is honestly fair. He forces the whole team to slow down in order to deal with him because he has no mobility. But at the same time, I would probably give him the second best pure support in the game, behind Froppy. I think he's a incredible support. He's able to provide cover for characters that don't normally have great cover, and it makes him very scary to face, especially in ending zones when his rocks and stuff can cover like half of the zone. I do think his damage is quite overtuned as well. Like, he's able to do Gamma into Alpha for a free guard break, and if you're really spicy with it, he can do Gamma Alpha to do like a full guard break and then half of their base health. He is kind of crazy. And his beta, having 3 charges and hitting for 180, it's obscene. If you see a Cementos in early game, though, you should deal with him then and there, before he gets the chance to level up and take you on in late game. Now, on to Endeavor. I think if we're talking aim assist Endeavor, he's like here. I think if we're talking like no aim assist Endeavor, he gets moved down slightly to about like here, I want to say. And personally, I think that's where I'm going to leave him. I know aim assist Endeavor is going to be a lot more like prominent, but if I'm being real, his special action is really bad. It doesn't take him far enough. His prominence burn is like alright now. It does decent damage, it does what it needs to do, but it still leaves him vulnerable against a lot of attacks. I think the real selling point to this character is the Flame Spear. I think that beta that he has is... It used to be the best beta in the game, and I think it still has an argument for it. I think Hawks probably has it currently, but I still think Endeavor's beta is monstrous. It comes out super quickly, it does great damage, it has a large AoE and it goes through walls, and it's a projectile too. Yeah. He might as well be beta the character at this point, as once you get that beta to max, he can be quite scary to deal with in later zones. His alpha, though, really is not as scary as it used to be. His alpha's received so many nerfs, and it just really doesn't feel right to him. It doesn't feel right to put him any higher than what he currently is. A lot of the times it feels like you're playing a very low mobility to like a no mobility character almost. I'm sure some Endeavor mains have min-maxed it to a point where he doesn't feel that bad, but in my personal opinion, I still don't think he's that great. I think he needs a buff to his special action so it lasts longer and so he can fly further. I think he needs that. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. You know what? You know, that's not enough. That's not enough. Adra above Hawks tier. Yeah. I think Hawks is incredibly broken. I think Hawks would be a meta pick even back in Season 1 when Yellow Deku and Bakugo were hitting for 100 with their alphas. I think he is a monster. I don't know what the devs were thinking with him. He has the best mobility in the game. He has one of the best damage rates in the game. He has some support, with his Gamma being able to ping people through walls and being able to pick up like lower mobility characters to get them around the map faster. And like, what are you going to do against him? Even his bad matchups aren't really that bad of matchups for him. Like Kendo can block him pretty well, but Kendo can't secure the kill against him. Kendo can't like really hit him very hard. Like Kendo can kill one that's just spamming beta. But if the Hawks is like smart and like playing the character properly, like Kendo can't do anything. Like there are very few actual like hard counters to the character. I think like the most hard counter a character is like Ibara. Like I think Ibara is realistically like the best in the game at dealing with a Hawk. And that's only because like the alpha can hit Hawks out of the air. But if you don't have perfect aim on your alphas, like that Hawk will throw like 10 feathers into you while you're stuck still. And if he gets close, like, you can grab him or, like, hit him with, like, the beta. Hawks is the catalyst of the rapid meta currently. And I fully believe that he is the best character in the game right now, and that is not even close. I don't think any character will reach this power for a long time. This character is so blatantly overpowered that even like cutting his beta damage down to like 80 for the first hit and then 120 for the second and like beyond hits, and he would still be incredibly good. And that's cutting his damage by 33% across the board, and he would still be incredibly good. I don't know what the devs were thinking giving him such crazy damage like that. Your average Hawks, it's like A. Like high A. A Hawks that knows how to do the beta 180 beta combo, like low S. A Hawks that truly understands how Hawks is supposed to be played, understands a lot of things like the Gamma, Aim, and Alpha combo, understands like when to use certain abilities against what characters, like understanding his matchup spread and like what he can and can't do against a lot of characters. Yeah. Once you understand like all of that, like you understand how to truly play Hawks, you're basically winning every round. He's a monster. No character will ever delete people as fast as he does. Some people will still try to say Full Blood's better. I don't even think it's close. I think Hawks is significantly better. I think he's the most broken character we've had. I think he's even more broken than back when Endeavor's Prominence Burn did 500 damage to you. I think he is beyond busted. Alright, now Mount Lady. I'm gonna be honest. Slightly better than Red Bakugo. She's really bad. She has poor range, poor alpha damage. Her mobility is like alright. And her beta combos, like, same thing. They're like alright. They do like 200. If you like for her basic combos, they do like 200 damage from a beta, which is nothing to scoff at. But she's also really level reliant. Getting her alpha up there is super important for her damage output. And getting her beta some levels is like also super important for hitting like the combo setups and all that. But realistically, like, I don't see a point to using her. I think the only niche she has is that she can grow big in Final Zone. But what's growing big gonna do to you against a Hawks that's just flying around throwing feathers into you? Or a full bullet that's able to knock you out of your special action very easily. I don't really see much use for Mount Lady in current meta. I think she's gonna need a buff. And I think she's gonna need like a decent one to become meta again. Those damage nerfs and the HP nerf, like I think those killed her. I think she's completely unviable now. Alright, now for Strike Shiggy. I'm sorry to any Strike Shiggy mains right there. Like right out now. Hawk. Strike Shiggy can't do anything against Hawks. Like literally nothing. Strike Shiggy can do basically nothing against a lot of the top tiers. Like Aizawa, I don't think I need to explain that one. He can do some things to Full Bullet and Present Mic. But like the entire rapid meta, he can't do like a thing against. And when he's good against like the mid tiers, that's fine and all. But having such horrible matchups against like almost all of the top tiers makes him almost completely unviable to even use. Not to mention he's also super like level reliant. So he's struggling very heavily right now. And I'm going to use the same logic to justify Yellow Shiggy as well. I think Yellow Shiggy used to be a lot better before Hawks became a thing. Because Yellow Shiggy does quite decently against like characters like Full Bullet. Like he does fine against them. Characters like All Might, he'll do alright against them. But he can't do much against a lot of the rapids that just stay in the air. He can't really touch them very much. What is he going to do? Beta into beta? Like, I mean, he can technically do damage to him, but it's not going to be pretty. He just gets eaten up by all the rapids right now. And I don't think his combo game is enough to warrant that. Now, AFO. I'm actually going to put AFO in low A. Because I think AFO is decently strong. Now, this might be a very controversial pick. But I think the main thing that makes AFO good is he forces everybody to play a certain way. Knowing that an AFO exists on the battlefield is liable to keep Full Bullet out of the air for as much as he wants to. Like, Full Bullet will often be a lot more strategic about how he goes up into the air if he knows that there's a chance that an AFO could catch him lacking. Additionally, like, his beta is able to prevent a Hawk's ambush, and it's like he's also able to prevent like Hawks from damaging like his teammates by just using like Gamma Push or Gamma Pull. He forces the top tiers to play in a way that they don't necessarily want to play just because he exists. And even like even like disregarding that, he still can take their quirk and become like a second Hawks. Even though he won't have the special action of Hawks, so he won't be as good. But if he can get like that Hawks beta at a high level, like he's gonna be just as deadly as Hawks will. If not more so, because he has more HP, so he's less liable to die to opposing Hawks. Alright, now Tech Dabi. I actually think there's a niche for Tech Dabi right now, so I'm gonna put him in C. And I think that niche is because he's very good at preventing a Hawks approach and a Full Bullet approach. Granted, he is not going to win either of those fights because they can just go above and like just Tech Dabi can't really do anything. He doesn't have a way to aggro those players. But his ability to play like super defensively against those top threats and like prevent them from approaching, like same with like Iida and stuff, it makes him, in my opinion, better than he's been in a while, but he's still like really bad. He's unable to get like damage back on them, but at least he's able to, kind of like AFO, he's able to force them to play in a way that they don't necessarily want to always play. Like, Full Bullet still just alpha spams him, but if he has, like, his traps and his gamma up at higher levels, like, he's able to easily, like, wait out those alphas and stuff. Now, Strike Dabi. Now, I don't own Strike Dabi, but I have played him on an alt recently, and I don't think he's that broken. I really don't. Like, I think... I don't know, where would I put him? I think I'm gonna put him just above All Might. I think he's good. But once again, he can't really do too much. Like, he can hit a Hawks very hard, but if the Hawks knows that the Strike Dabi is there, the Hawks just won't go down and try and hit him with a beta. Like, Hawks should not be going for a beta against a Strike Dabi. And neither should a Full Bullet. Like, neither of those two characters should be trying to get close to a Strike Dabi. And if they keep it that way, like, they will beat Strike Dabi. But that doesn't mean the Strike Dabi isn't, like, good. His ability to catch, like, people off guard for crazy damage is still valuable. His early game can be quite lackluster, though. I have noticed that. But his late game can be quite scary for a lot of characters to deal with. I don't think he's, like, that bad anymore, though. I don't think he's received very many nerfs. But I definitely, like, I don't think he's broken. I don't think he's S tier. I don't think he's that great. Technical Toga. I'm gonna be honest. Right there. I think her biggest value is that she can become another Hawk. And to be fair, that's decent value. But the only problem with her is her base kit is bad. And her Gamma recently received some kind of shadow nerf that makes it harder to hit. So she's struggling to consistently get blood too. I don't know. I think she's bad. I don't think she's unplayably bad, but I think she's struggling more than she ever has before. And I think a large portion of that is due to the next character that's coming up, Rapid Toga. Rapid Toga, I think, is very strong. I think she's definitely an S tier pick. Whether or not she's above or below Iida or Rapid Bakugo, I think is up to preference. I'm personally going to put her here. Her beta, alpha, gamma setups do crazy damage. Additionally, if you're able to get good with her combo game, I can see her being best character in the game. Getting really good with like all of the setups that she has. Will force you to just be cycling blood between all of like the players that are in the game. Like you could cycle for like a full bullet blood and get like a full bullet combo onto somebody, and then turn around and cycle a hog's blood and hit somebody with a hog's combo and then cycle it into something else. If you're consistently able to be cycling those crazy combos that are like all transform combos into her own gamma so she can get the blood again and then go continue the combos on somebody else or the same person, she's definitely a monstrous. Like, absolutely crazy. But I don't think anybody's reached that point with her just yet. Several people have gotten close, but I definitely think she's still, like, a lot not to be seen. And I think she'll become a much bigger problem whenever Hawks is taken out of the meta, because Hawks' ability to just delete her poor 250 HP and her kind of lackluster mobility for rapid. Yeah, I think Hawks is like really holding her back. But at the end of the day, she can become another Hawks, which does mean she's at least decently viable because she can just become a Hawk. All right, we got 3 characters left, and we got Twice. I'm gonna say it. I don't think Twice is very good right now. I don't think he is. I think he's right there. I think Twice is struggling very heavily in current meta. He's, in my opinion, I think like the worst rapid, like very close to Froppy. His combos don't work very well anymore, to my knowledge. He received some kind of shadow nerf to his gamma that either like made the tracking on it weirder, so it doesn't hit as reliably, or like they reduced the range on it. Like I'm pretty sure they also did reduce range on it, but they definitely hit his gamma with something, and he doesn't feel very good anymore because of it. I think Twice is an era that is long past. I think people understand how to fight Twice now, and even though he can be good, I don't think he's a monster like what he used to be. He does have some decent viability because he can like make clones and stuff that have like very good accuracy, like they got like aimbot. But I don't think it's that important to justify him over a much better character. Compress. It's very tough to say for Compress. I think Compress is very strong, but only in the right hands. And I think in order to have Compress on the team, like, you cannot fight early game. Like, I know, like, he's not the worst early game. Like, he's still better than, like, Strike Shiggy, for example, early game. But his problems are just... Okay, here's how I'm going to explain it. I think without having any levels, he's, like, here. Like, he's not that bad, but he's, like, he's really low. I think once he gets his alpha to 7, he shoots all the way up to, like, up at A. Like, low A. Once he gets his gamma to 9, too, he gets a alpha and gamma 9, he's, like, here. Not Momo. He's, like, up here. I think I had Momo, like, right there. I don't remember. Let's put it there for now. Yeah. But Compress is monstrous once he gets those level 9 skills. I think he can be crazy good. And his ability to stagger his alpha into his alpha, like, on shield. And, like, because of that stagger, like, it essentially forces, like, Compress with good aim. He's gonna break your shield, and he's gonna do half your base. And he's gonna hurt you hard. And he also has incredible damage and incredible fire rate on his alpha. Like, I would honestly probably give his alpha, like, an argument for one of the best alphas in the game. I think it's up there with Full Bullet and regular Deku. Like, I think his alpha is insane. I think his alpha is, like, incredibly good. For that, I'm gonna put him at the top of A. Because I think once you get his alpha up to 7, which is not a huge task to do as long as you don't fight off spawn, then he's fine. Like, he's, like, a very, like, good character. And then after that, he's a monster. Once he gets his gamma up there, it'll essentially be impossible to kill him, because he'll have mobility comparable to that of Rapids, except it's a lot harder to track him when he's running away. he gets away for free in a lot of scenarios, and his armor on his beta, or not his beta, his gamma, also works to his massive effect here as well. I don't think he's impossible to kill, but he's definitely, like, very good. Whew, oh, jeez. I can feel my voice wearing out. Alright, on to the last one. Overhaul. I think he's good. I think he's really good. I think in solo queue, he's really bad. I think solo queue, you can have a lot better options than Overhaul. But in team-based play, he's a monster. Like, he's, like, up here, I would say. Because his ability to heal anybody that gets close to him, or just himself, is, like, insane. I also think he's the best plus ultra user in the entire game. Because he gets low, he can use his heal himself, and then if he gets hit low again, he can use plus ultra to get a shield back, and then if that breaks, he can then use his heal again to keep himself alive for even longer. Basically, no character is going to be able to 1v1 him when he's got plus ultra available. He's insane. I think he also does quite incredible damage, too. Hitting those gamma into alphas against, like, certain, like, problem threats, like a full bullet, for example, or a hawk, it pretty much breaks their guard and forces them to back off, no matter what. A lot of characters can't even overextend against an overhaul either, because the threat of a heal is just too much. Whether he has it or not, the threat of it existing is simply too much for a lot of characters to manage. Additionally, his special action, being able to push like a character back out of a combo, while it's usually like not too useful against some of the top threats, it does have some niche situations where you can say hit a Hawks out of like his beta combo and like get him out of his beta. You can also use Gamma if you know that the Hawks is going to be coming down for a swing. You can use your own Gamma in order to prevent him from getting free damage on you, and then you hit him with a huge combo. And that's definitely incredibly viable as well. I think his biggest issue is that he's a no mobility character, but he's still like very strong, able to still hang with the top tiers in my opinion. Alright, well, I'll do a quick scroll over my list, and this is my personal list. I think Strike Shigi like really needs a lot of help right now, and I don't even think it's necessarily his fault. I think it's just the meta doesn't really work very well for him. This list is likely very different from what you're going to see for a lot of people, but this is what I personally think the meta looks like right now. This is how strong I think each character is. Alright, well, if you enjoyed, please consider liking and subscribing for more content like this. I plan to make more tier list videos in the future. And, yeah, I mean, I just wanted to go ahead and make a video about talking about my thoughts on the current meta while it was happening. I think this meta's awful. I like Full Bullet being meta. I don't like anybody else here in the top meta. I don't think Hawks being so good like that he literally, like, Hawks is a big reason as to why this meta looks this way. Because if you're bad against Hawks, you're unviable. If you're good against Hawks, you're alright. Yeah. Alright, well, thanks for watching. Subscribe and give the video a like if you enjoyed. And if you let me know what you agree and disagree with down below, and I can give further reasonings to my opinions, and we can have a pleasant discussion. Peace.